And hello there, Roster Watch Nation. It's your friendly neighbor Trash Man, back with another Best Ball Mania 3 draft on UnderdogFantasy.com. Um, so, if you're looking to draft with me, there's still 5 spaces available. So, yeah, if you got the time, join the draft with me. Underdog Fantasy Best Ball Mania 3 draft. It'll be a $25 fee to play, but it should be fun. And I'll get to and if you do join the draft and do comment with me throughout the draft, I can give you some tips, give you some clues. I'll give you some tips on what I'm going to be doing in the draft. So yeah, I'm waiting for a couple more people before this draft gets started. So we're still waiting for one person in this draft. Oh, and now we are ready to go. So hopefully one of you is watching, joining in this draft. We're using the Roster Watch Ultimate Ball Best Ball Cheat Sheet version 5.1. I'll be drafting out of the 8 spot. It's been a minute, I think, since I've drafted out of this spot, so it should be interesting. A lot happening over the NFL in the last couple days, so we'll see what this draft is like. I've had pretty strong ones before, and up to this point, and like most of the drafts before, I'll be attempting to put together some stacks, some of these teams, and ideally some stacks that are probably not going to be used as often, or you won't see as often in these large field tournaments. But we'll see what falls to us. So first pick, as usual, Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey the second, Justin Jefferson. Let's see who the cheat sheet has at 8. So it'll be around the area. Stephon Diggs, Dalvin Cook, CeeDee Lamb, Travis Kelce, maybe a Derrick Henry. Excuse me. So we'll see what happens here. If everything goes as I think it will, probably get. Oh no, someone took Diggs in front of me, so I will go ahead and take Derrick Henry at the 8 spot, which is kind of blows me away that I'm able to get him at the 8 spot, but I love it. Dalvin Cook goes next, as I could have suspected. One good thing about drafting from the 8 spot is that it's not that much time in between the picks. Not much waiting around, so I like that. Najee Harris, Devontae Adams, all the usual suspects thus far. 5 picks away. By some chance I get CD there, that'd be amazing. Although I'd be happy getting Mike Evans. So we'll see what happens. Travis Kelce just went. Joe Mixon. Sky already picked a wide receiver, so maybe it goes running back for a second pick. We'll see. Yeah. So These guys have both picked running backs with their first two picks, so I may be left to have to decide between Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley with my next pick, or Deebo Samuel. Let's see what the cheat sheet would say. They would have me take Deebo Samuel there. Oh, but Mike Evans is available. So I'm going to go ahead, draft him. So I think a strong start to this draft. Derrick Henry, Mike Evans. Solid core to work with. And so, good thing about starting with a Derrick Henry is that, making a stack, a Tennessee stack, shouldn't come too difficult. Ryan Tannehill should be readily available. And then I should be able to get either Treylon Burks or Robert Woods at receiver. But then I could go with a Tampa Bay stack, potentially, get a Tom Brady, and then maybe deviate from Leonard Fournette, maybe get a Rashad White or one of these tight ends, maybe Kyle Rudolph. So there are a few options you could have here. Have to make sure we're looking too at the buys. So you make sure that we don't draft too many guys with the same bye week. Alvin Kamara going fairly early, I think, considering, the potential suspension. I guess this person thinks it won't be that long. Alex doesn't think it's going to be a long suspension either. Thinks maybe 2 games. We'll see. So I also want to make sure you go over the news of the day in the fantasy world, just to make sure that not missing anything. Okay. So I'm up again. I think what I'm going to do here, I think I'm going to go Kyle Pitts at tight end. Just really start with a strong starting lineup, starting roster. Derrick Henry, Mike Evans, Kyle Pitts. Pretty strong group to work from. And I like taking Pitts there too, just because making an Atlanta stack is going to come pretty easily. So the reason that we make these stacks in these large field tournaments is that generally stacks tend to perform better in these large field tournaments because you have fewer people doing them or fewer people making them. It can be kind of risky, but in these large field tournaments, risk is kind of the name of the game. So another 3 picks away. Let's see who might be available. Cortland Sutton, Marquise Brown, Jalen Waddle. Brees Hall. You know, I think I'm going to take Brees Hall here. Just because it might be a while before we get another running back at his caliber or of his potential really this season. There's still some more options down there. They're just not quite as sexy, I guess. So team thus far: Derrick Henry, Brees Hall at running back, Mike Evans receiver, Kyle Pitts at tight end. So I might start to queue up some of these players that I like. Brandon Cooks, I wouldn't usually queue up, but because of the injury to John Mechie, maybe they rely on him in Houston even more than in the past. Hmm. 7 picks away. I'm maybe looking at a quarterback here, but I kind of wanted to work on one of these stacks. Most of those quarterbacks, everybody save Tom Brady. I'm going to be able to get pretty late. So I'm thinking if I am thinking about a quarterback soon, like a Mahomes or a Murray, I would have to consider a stack with some of those other players. So I might just stick to my initial plan. See how far down the line Brady would be. I could maybe take a pick here, another player that I can then get Brady on my next turn. Then if I don't get Brady on the next turn, then I can, I won't worry about a quarterback for a while. Just work on a stack, a Tennessee stack or Atlanta stack, and I'll fill out the rest of my roster accordingly. Chris Godwin, I'm going to queue up, finding out that he's not going to start camp on the. Well, he could end up starting the season. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. Um, so I love that. And I already have Mike Evans. So it kind of makes a pretty strong stack. Okay, so Trash Moon is up. I am going to go with Goblin here. Just why not? Tampa Bay heavy. The only issue being that Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are the same buy, so we're going to make sure none of the other wide receivers that I pick up have week 11 buys. So what I'm going to try to do here on this next turn is we pick up Tom Brady. God, do I even need to worry about Tom Brady yet? I might risk not taking Tom Brady with this next pick, taking a wide receiver instead and trying to get Tom Brady with the following pick. You also see if any of these guys start taking quarterbacks. So that's a risky game to play, kind of depending on this Tampa Bay stack at this point. 5 picks away. And so if you haven't been playing these underdogfantasy.com drafts, you get up to 100% deposit bonus up to $100 with the promo code roster. So keep that in mind if you do want to join in, play along with us, or kind of draft on your own time. So if you deposit $100, you get another $100 from underdogfantasy.com to play with using the code roster. So that's kind of a tough deal to beat. Okay. So I'm not crazy about any of the receivers who are right in this area. So I think I'm just going to go with Tom and work on this Tampa Bay stack. And so I have a pretty decent stack already with Tom Brady and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I might add one more player, maybe a Rashad White a little bit later in the draft. But I think we're good for now with those Tampa Bay players. So I'm just going to fill out um, the rest of my roster. Probably take a wide receiver with my next pick, preferably one without a week 11 bye. So that takes Russell Gage out of contention. Drake London would be a great guy to have with this next pick. It's unlikely that he'll last, 7 picks from now, but if he does, I'd love to have him. Other wide receivers. Michael Thomas, I feel like getting him here, is value. Getting him this late in the draft. Marquez Valdez Scantling, I think presents good value. Chris Olave, I love. Treylon Burks is starting to trend upwards again. Sky Moore is an option. Robert Woods could add to that Tennessee stack potentially. Okay, so a lot of options here, but I feel like I should definitely probably take a wide receiver here. Yeah, James. It is interesting how the players we take were changed due to new information. But that's what makes these drafts kind of fun too. It's always a little bit different of an experience. Okay, so one pick away. Hopefully, Drake London falls to me here. Um, and he will. Drake London, I like here just because I think there are a few players with the kind of target share potential that Drake London is going to have for Atlanta this season. And, I like a lot of these other receivers kind of right after him. So I may take another receiver here. If Chris Olave is there. So the team as of now is Tom Brady, Derrick Henry, Brees Hall, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Drake London, and then Kyle Pitts. So running backs, I mean Rashad Penny's there, who I love. Looks like he's going to be the starter in Seattle. And in a 4 or 5 game stretch there at the end of last season, I mean he was a top 5 running back. So I think we're getting him at value if we can get him here. We'll see. Come on, King Redbeard. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take Rashad Penny here. Chris Carson is retired. So I think we're getting really great value. Rashad Penny there. Okay. So quite a few picks before we go again. The team as of now: Tom Brady, Derrick Henry, Brees Hall, Rashad Penny, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Drake London, and then Kyle Pitts at tight end. Okay. So just looking at the team now and kind of some of the stacks that we're building, I mean, we already pretty decent Tampa Bay stack going that we could, complement with a tight end, maybe a Kyle Rudolph later, or a running back with like a Rashad White later. Or we've kind of got an Atlanta stack kind of going right now too with Drake London, Kyle Pitts. We could add Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ritter later at quarterback. So a lot of options. I mean, and then both of the Tennessee receivers. Well, yeah, both of the Tennessee receivers still around, and Traylon Brooks and Robert Woods. So I could grab one of them to pair with Derrick Henry, then add Ryan Tannehill later. There are a lot of things I could do that really kind of just depend on, all the picks that are made prior to mine. I'd love to be able to take Chris Olave with my next pick. Seems unlikely, but I've been getting pretty lucky in getting the players that I'm wanting in this draft. I mean, I might have a decent chance of getting him. And this guy has 4 wide receivers already. So, yeah, so he took a running back. This guy has 5 receivers already. So I'm doubting that he's going to take another receiver. It'll be the last 2 guys before me that I'm kind of worried about, I think. Taking Olave before me. We shall see. So he did take another wide receiver, but it was Sky Moore. 6 wide receivers. This guy only has 2 wide receivers, so it's probably a good chance that he's going to take one now. And he did. He went and took Chris Olave. Traylon Burks gone. Um, I think I might just take Robert Woods here. I just think you're getting really good value with Robert Woods taking him this late as my fourth receiver. And so now, really, the question is, for my second quarterback, do I go with a Ryan Tannehill or one of the Atlanta quarterbacks? And I almost feel like I should go with Ryan Tannehill just because there's less of a question as to whether he'll be playing the entire season. Whereas with the Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ridder, we're not really sure how the season's going to go for those guys. I mean, Mariota will probably start, but not certain that he'll finish. So I'm just going to have Tannehill queued up. Don't think I need to take him soon. I just want to keep him in the back of my mind. So 4 picks away. Probably go with another running back here or tight end, I guess, if there was a marquee one here, and there's not. I think we've moved past that point in the draft. So of the running backs in this general area, Ken Walker, I already have Rashard Penny, James Cook, Melvin Gordon, Cordell Patterson. Okay, so Patterson's taken, so that's not an option. So it's probably going to be Walker, Cook, or Gordon. Oh, and there's Rashad White not far behind. So maybe let's go with White, finish that Tampa Bay stack. I guess there's a chance I could get him on the way back. But is that a chance I really want to take? I think I just take him here, complete that Tampa Bay stack. So no more Tampa Bay players. Right now, the team as it is: Tom Brady, Derrick Henry, Brees Hall, Rashad Penny, Rashad White, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Drake London, Robert Woods, and then Kyle Pitts. So I'm going to queue up some other players that I like around this area. Isaiah Spiller, I really think has some upside there in that Chargers offense. Pat Fryerman, I think he led the Steelers in red zone targets last year, if I'm not mistaken. Michael Gallup, getting him this late, I think, is a value, even if he doesn't start the season. Damian Pierce out of Houston could end up being the starting back there. Jarvis Landry, he's never that exciting to play at or draft, but I think he's going to get plenty of targets there in New Orleans. Mike Gesicki, another tight end prospect. James Williams, I like. I hate anything attached to Jared Goff. Devontae Parker, I hear, is developing a pretty good rapport with Mac Jones. Tyler Algier could be the starting running back in Atlanta before all is said and done. Tyrion Davis-Price, I think, is going to get a good chunk of that 49ers backfield out action eventually. Gus Edwards makes for good value later on, as does Khalil Herbert. Nico Collins, as there's no John Mechie around, I think they're going to have to lean on him more in Houston. James Robinson, looks like he's coming back quickly from that Achilles injury. He's somebody that I would love to have on my team, and get him as late as you can right now. Okay. So next pick, I think I'm going to go with Pat Fryermuth. It's my second tight end. I think it's really strong. I think he's going to perform above his ADP right now. So 7 more picks away. Some of these other players that are like, hopefully stick around. Hopefully I can get a Dameon Pierce with my next pick. And then maybe take Ryan Tannehill in that next turn. So I'd love to get Dameon Pierce here. Michael Gallup fell, that would be great. Tyler Algier. So Mike Gesicki just went. Okay, so 5 picks. I think I should be able to get one of these guys that I have queued up here. Make sure none of these guys have week 11 buys. Ken Galladay just got taken. Oh, Michael Gallup just went. That is fine. Got some other strong options here. Too, I think if I wanted to, Jalen Tolbert's there, get a part of that Dallas offense. And James Washington's going to be there late. Someone else who, he looks like he could be starting receiver for the Cowboys when the season starts. So 1 pick before mine. So it could be a running back that this guy takes. He only has 3. Oh, it takes Landry. So I'm going to go ahead and take Dameon Pierce here. And we'll see. I might not even need to take Ryan Tannehill for my next pick. I might be able to get another one of these guys before I have to take Tannehill. I guess I don't have to take Tannehill because I've kind of cultivated an Atlanta stack as well. I could add Marcus Mariota or Desmond Ridder if for some reason Tannehill gets taken before I get a chance to add him to my roster. Tyler Algier gone. Then Hunter Henry. Okay. So of these guys I have queued up. Tyrion Davis Price. I like what we're hearing now out of San Francisco is that's going to be more of a committee backfield to go along with Elijah Mitchell. So it'll be Tyrion Davis Price and Jeff Wilson. Tyrion Davis Price being the exciting rookie. So, he's the guy, he's the unknown, but he's the guy that we're kind of most excited about being back there. Then we have Gus Edwards. It's going to be part of that 1-2 punch in Baltimore with J.K. Dobbins. And then Khalil Herbert in Chicago, who I really like. I think it's going to be a running offense for Chicago. I think Khalil Herbert, he's a good pass catcher, but he can also run between the tackles pretty well for a smaller guy. Let's look at some of these other players who are available. Anybody who I've overlooked potentially? Okay. So I think here, I mean, there's nobody who I'm just super stoked about, but I think Nico Collins would be a good pick here. So wide receivers, well, this is the team so far. Tom Brady, Derrick Henry, Brees Hall, Rashad Penny, Rashad White, Damian Pierce, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Drake London, Robert Woods, Nico Collins at receiver, and then Kyle Pitts and Pat Frymuth at tight end. So I think here with this next pick, I'll angle for Ryan Tannehill. So then I would have the Tennessee stock of Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and Robert Woods. So if I can, oh, he's still there. Sorry, thought he maybe got taken. So I'm hoping he's still there, 4 picks away. And once I shore that up, then I'm just going to start swinging for the fences, maybe making some interesting picks to kind of shake up this roster, make it a little bit rarer compared to maybe some of these other rosters that are being constructed. Oh, so there we go. I'm going to take Ryan Tannehill there. And so then I have that Tennessee stack. I got that Tampa Bay stack. And now I'm just going to start to diversify a bit. So we have 4 picks left in this draft. So I'm going to go through and look at some players who kind of piqued my interest a little bit. Evan Ingram, I mean, he's a spark freak. He didn't do much. He hasn't been doing much in New York, but he's always hated the cold. So maybe I take a flyer on him. Sammy Watkins could end up being the number 1 in Green Bay. I feel it's, could get decent value under the Paris Campbell and Indianapolis I love. Oh, not Hayden Hurst, but then Mark Ingram, New Orleans could end up starting for as many as 6 games, maybe even more if the suspensions, or he just got taken. Wan'Dale Robinson, New York, he's been running with the ones. Really versatile player. I like him a lot. Brian Robinson out of Washington, and it could end up being a short line, kind of a short line goal line back for Washington. Will Fuller, hasn't been picked up yet, but Julio Jones just got added to a roster. AJ Green, I think, is going to be good for at least the first 6 games with DeAndre Hopkins out. Deontay Foreman is also always an interesting pick. In Carolina, Christian McCaffrey, when's the last time he played an entire season? I don't know if he's ever, well, it might have been the first 2 seasons of his career, maybe first. Logan Thomas, I like in Washington, though he's got more targets to contend with. Brevin Jordan in Houston, losing John Mechie kind of boosts Jordan up the totem pole there a bit. James Washington, Dallas. Donovan Peoples-Jones, they're expecting him to make a jump. They need him to make a jump there in Cleveland. I don't know if he will. Jeff Wilson, he's running as the number 2 in San Fran right now. Brian Edwards could be the number 2 in Atlanta, number 2 receiver. Kenyon Drake, I think, is going to get targets there. in Las Vegas. And that offense. Okay. Greg Dulcich, they've been talking him up there in Denver. He's been running with the ones. He's just a rookie, but could could see some work. Okay, so I'm up. Um, I'm gonna go with Wandell Robinson here. Running with the ones. He was one of my favorite prospects in the draft this year. Just one of these kind of do it all kind of players. Not that different from Kadarius Toney, really, in kind of their skill set, but I think he may be less of a wild card than Toney off the field. So maybe I'm either here gonna add a running back probably, or maybe bolster my tight end group, the Logan Thomas or Brevin Jordan. Kind of the name of the game here at the end is kind of just diversifying a bit. Choosing some of these players that aren't might not be that popular, but could end up really popping in fantasy. That's what you're going to need to win these large field tournaments. Okay. So I'm up again. I am going to go with Brian Robinson here. I think, you know, so I have two more picks left. So I'll probably take a tight end and we'll just see who are these players left that I have queued up as around. Maybe see if there are any more guys later here in the draft too. Could have a shot. I mean, N'Keal Harry in Chicago just got added to that roster. It could end up being a starter on the outside there. Didn't really work out for him in New England, but we'll just throw him in the mix. Keontae Ingram out of Arizona. I mean, James Conner, I don't know if he's ever played a full season. So the team thus far: Tom Brady, Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry. So that's quarterbacks. Running backs: Derrick Henry, Brees Hall, Rashad Penny, Rashad White, Damian Pierce, Brian Robinson. A lot of young backs here, but I like it, especially in these large field tournaments. And wide receiver: Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Drake London, Robert Woods, Nico Collins, Wandell Robinson, a receiver, and then tight ends: Kyle Pitt and Pat Freiermuth. So 6 picks away. Probably take one of these tight ends here. I mean, you could go with a Taysom Hill, and if there's any chance that he plays any quarterback this season, I mean, that would put you over the top potentially. And I think I've yet to have a roster constructed in one of these best ball tourneys that had Taysom Hill on it. So it might be fun to just have one. So 2 picks away. My last 2 picks. think I might take either AJ Green or maybe James Washington. James Washington, I think, really could have some considerable upside in this Dallas offense. Yeah, so I think I'm going to do that. And then one more pick. Take one of these tight ends. Yeah. Also, someone just picked up Taysom Hill. So I'm left with either Logan Thomas, Brevin Jordan, Greg Dulcich. I mean, I guess there's your Cameron Brate or Kyle Rudolph. I mean, I have so many Tampa Bay players already, though. See any other tight ends who I might be interested in? I mean, there's nobody who. No other tight ends who I'm terribly interested in. So I think it's going to be between Logan Thomas, Brevin Jordan, and Greg Dulcich. Let me see if the bye weeks that they have kind of make this decision any easier. So I have a guy with a 14 and 9. And so, yeah, Logan Thomas, Greg Dulcich, they both have 14 or 9 bye weeks. So I guess, it's one or the other. So Logan Thomas, Greg Dulcich. I think maybe I go with Dulcich. Um, it's kind of a wild card, but I think you're going to need to have one of those, one or two of those on your team to win one of these large field tournaments. So there you have it. Tom Brady, Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. Running backs, Derrick Henry, Brees Hall, Rashad Penny, Rashad White, Damian Pierce, Brian Robinson. God, are these all rookies? Are these all rookies except for two of them? Wow. And then wide receivers, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Drake London, Robert Woods, Nico Collins, Wandell Robinson, James Washington. And then Kyle Pitts, Matt Farman, Greg Dulcich. So there you have it. Another what I deem a successful Best Ball Mania 3 draft. Thanks for joining along with me. Hopefully you drafted along with me as well. And if not, maybe you can next Thursday when I do this all over again. All right, there you have it. This has been the Trash Man on behalf of rosterwatch.com. Until next time, be ready.